Okay, there was a bit of swearing and wrestling going on there, and I'm trying to do it on camera. It's always the same in it. So now it's sat down. The curvature is sat in its little socket, the little pressed steel welded up little socket that they provide for you inside there. So you're not, when it's sat correctly, if it's not sat properly, you'll feel it kind of springing to get it down onto the seats for the mounting bolts. I mean, that's just sat in there now, and the chain can freely move through the back of the tensioner, ready for the cams in here. Okay, so I know that's sat, and it tends to be the only way you can get in is look down the front with a torch to sort of try and eye it up down there. What it tries to do is where the little socket is and the slipper's coming, it tries to go behind the little socket like that instead of sitting in the little socket. It tries to go behind it, and then it ends up springy, which is, it's not sat right. So it needs to make sure it sits in its cup, and then it sits, I mean, it's sat on its mounting bolts there, waiting to be, you know, the casting, it's waiting to be bolted in with a little 4 bolts. So right, we'll do that now. I always find this a little bit, you know, it really could be a bit chaotic, because if you drop the bolt behind, you're doing it all again. So anyway, let's have we'll get my socket extensions, etc., and let's go from here. So a little cut knife stuff to kind of enable this. Right, what I want to do here, I want to just try and not tempt fate. So I'm a little oily rag in there, and a little oily rag in there. I'm going to just try and give myself fighting chance that if something did go wrong. Right, what we get is 4 of these that mount that in the head. So I don't know, everyone has their own way trying to potentially try and keep hold of it. And you know what, for this I'm going to take my gloves off. Got no feel, and if it goes in I'm going to be well hacked off. So right, okay, a bit more feel. There's not, with the rags being there, there's nowhere really it can go at the minute. So all I'm going to do with that, sorry if my arm's in the way there, but what I'll do with that is just nip it. In fact, not even nip it. Just make sure it's in. Having said, you know, when you say there's nowhere for it to go if it did come out, there is. It'll always find its way in. It's like it's break for freedom, I think, you know, and it's anyway, another one in there. And one in there. And final one, which is actually down behind the Allen key that we've got locking the tensioner off, so it makes it even worse. But anyway, let's just see if we can get finger past the Allen key, and ooh, there we go. Thank you, Honda, for producing such a wonderful cam chain tensioner. Anyway, she's in on its mounting, the bolts, and we can't lose them, so we can take our rags out, and we're now ready to check crankshaft position, timing marks, and laying the cams on where we think they're going to be to start with. So we get the oil can, oil it up, and we'll move forward. Right, we're okay with the timing marks through there, as discussed before. We've just got the head gasket sat on the 2 dowels. The head's now prepped and ready to go, as you can see. Okay, I'm just going to drop the head onto the dowels. Bit easier this one with both dowels being in the block. Okay, so she's sat there on the dowels. Right, same deal, we have to fish the chain out. I just offered the water pipe up to see where it was in relation to the, to our new oil supply pipes down here, and it's going to interfere with it a little bit, but we'll come back to that in a bit. It's not really me thinking out loud really on that. So, okay, it has to be said, it's a strange motor. It really is a great motor, but a strange motor in some ways. Really is in some ways. It's see, the format that we're in now, the caps are just sat on the cams. The cams are timed to in relation to crankshaft, but the head hasn't even been started to pull down, because the bolts, the head bolts, go through the caps, through the oil feed pipe that goes on top, that has to be threaded through the chain, okay, through the oil feed pipe, and when all this is in situ, sat down on the caps, and then only then can it all be tightened down. So so yeah, it's a strange, it kind of has to be assembled as such before, like this, before, and then obviously we're going to get the little slipper part on. Then you can start putting all your head bolts in. I mean, you could put outer ones in, but the torque settings all start at in the inner. So I mean, I've just got it like that for the minute. So anyway, there we go. We'll talk more on this oil feed pipe in a while, when it's all bolted down. We can kind of follow the final stages of the oil circuit. So what we're going to do on the front is the same deal with, let's see what you're seeing, same deal with this cam chain tensioner. So I need two, in fact I haven't got one ready, I might have to stop the video and go and find an Allen key to lock off the tension. In fact, I'll just do that, hang fire. Okay, picking up where we left off with this, instead of it being on the tripod, sometimes get a bit more detail. I've just had the bore scope down the chain run to ensure that slipper that we wrestle with, when I said it's chaos, because it is chaos, the back blade that pushes on the chain, the tensioner, is sat in its little cup at the bottom. So it is, anyway. I've just checked it on the bore scope on both cylinders. So and just to clarify, often it can look really complex, this valve timing on this motor, but there's it is 46 teeth from the line, from the pin on the line, on that line, 46 teeth to the pin on that line. Okay, having said that, the line, with it having the two lines, you could actually turn it 180 degrees, so, and that's fine, but it's always done with 1 and 3, these two cylinders at the back. Is it 1 and 3? Yeah, 1 and 3 cylinders here, the rear cylinders at TDC. It's always set with these cylinders at top dead centre, and then obviously if that's top dead centre and it's a 360 crank, here we go, the furry assistant's here climbing up my leg now. Come on, you want to get on camera? Let's have a look. And he is, and here he is, fat as ever, eats me out of house and home. Anyway, that's enough. Right, go on, down you go. Okay. So yeah, as I said, you can put it 180 degrees round, but what you do get, the best way of identifying it is, on the cams there will be exhaust rear, inlet rear markings on the cam. Okay, if that identification is up, then all 4 cams identification is up. If the identification, if you've gone to 180 degrees and the inlet rear, exhaust rear is down, then set the front with the inlet and exhaust front markings down. Because the caps are just resting on that one, the identification marks are, let me see if I can show you and zoom in on it, get a torch. There we go. So on that cam we can see F exhaust, so that's front exhaust, and on this cam we can see front in. markings. So the identification marks are up, facing us. So with the line across the deck, like that. Remember, it's not bolted down yet, so it'll just sit slightly proud, but I know from experience that when you bolt it down, that's going to come level. So we've got the mark there, the mark there, the mark there, the mark there. When she gets bolted down, that's going to be right, okay? But it's always done with 1 and 3 at TDC. And obviously, without getting complicated now, but if it's a 360 crank in this, so if these two are at top dead centre, they're 90 degrees before top dead centre. But rear 2 cylinders, top dead centre, identification marks up, line, 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 line. 46 teeth, pins between line and line, and 46 pins between line and line. You bang on, get it bolted down. Okay, so next stage we'll pick this up where we I'm going to get it all assembled, because there's so much to it. Going to get it all assembled ready for torquing. So we'll do that and then we'll pick it up then. Right, got it pinned up with an Allen key. Okay, same deal as last time. The R-clip, the pin removed, and the chain has to go inside. So if we're now looking at a situation where the slipper is at the back of the chain, it needs to be, let me get my head around this, hang on a second, it goes inside the chain, okay, because it's obviously sat inside. So the chain inside the tensioner, or the tensioner inside the chain should we say, as so, like so, okay, and then it's going to go that away to push against the chain. So the tensioner, you're not really, hang on, let me just see if we can get a little bit better shot on this. Right, so the tensioner is inside the chain loop, pinned up with an Allen key. Now our slipper, our rear back slipper, that's going to go into the little C-cup like that. That's just down there, the pressed steel fabricated bit we mentioned before. So this bit now has to go through here. Okay, and all it wants to do is drop into the bottom of the engine. Okay, so ultimate care, the washer, and then the little R-clip, click, and in she goes. Okay, and again now this time find it easier with a bit of a torch down there. So it's kind of offering the tensioner up into its position, ensuring, see this one, I've had experience of this one before where it doesn't go, the bottom of that blade we talked about doesn't sit in its little cup, it drops out of it. So it really is a and it's so awkward to see it, but you won't be able to see this, but I can just see that there, I'm going to have to just rest that there, I think, just to give me just enough light to see. Might even need a long screwdriver for that. Okay, just to push the blade into its, like I said, there's a little cup there. Sometimes you know it just falls in, and then sometimes it's, usually on camera, it don't want to go, and I can see, there we go. I'll just make sure that that's sat in its cup there, which it is now. Okay, that means the chain now is loose through the back of the tensioner, but the tension is now inside the chain run, ready for the cams. And I'm just going to check that again. I like to just check and double check. You can actually see it just down that side, he says. Now, do you know what? Let me just, there we go. That's it, just fell into where it's got to go. Okay, so the next stage, we'll get the bolts in, and we'll start on just off with the cams up, and then we can start doing a double take on both cams, both banks of cylinders, 4 cams. Okay.